What's going on, Vapor fans? Pekka Vlog time. I know, it's been so long. Where have I been? What have I been doing and stuff? Yeah, so for that, I want to apologize to all of our, friends and longtime family members. It's been a really long time since I put out any videos since the Fuse Clap the Jig. Speaking of the Fuse Clap the Jig, as the last video that I did put out, I did do a giveaway at the time, but I never had a chance to come back to it, but I am a man of my word, so let's take a look at that real quick, okay? So here was the video of the Fuse Clapton jig, and what we're going to do is that we're going to sort everything by chronological order, and the first correct responses, okay, it was over here. First one by Jacob Bradley, so close. Speed is the movie, and I think the RDA is the Zorro V2. Now, here's the thing about the Zorro real quick, okay? There are two Zorros out there, all right? There's the Zorro RDA and the Zorro RDA, okay? What is the difference? Well, one of them, it goes by two R's and is made by Tobacco. The other one is the single R made by E-cig. I had the one with the E-cig, okay? So it's going to have to go to the next person over. Larry Taylor, you are the winner with Speed is correct, and Zoro single R by E-cig is absolutely correct. So Larry Taylor, please go ahead and shoot me a PM, and we will work out something so that you win the full line of the PVA batteries. If you would like to pay it forward, please let me know, and then we'll move on to the next person, okay? So without further ado, let's get back to the vlog. Okay, so it's been a while since we spoke, and we'll get into what I've been doing. Other than my personal life of running multiple businesses and stuff like that, I have been getting involved with a lot more China companies as far as being like their consultant and helping them out from within. You know, granted that like a lot of these companies, whether they know anything about vaping or being vapors themselves, they're going to end up flooding the market with different kinds of products. You know what I mean? They're going to get into this either way. So it's very good to, try to be in with them so that they don't just flood the market with dangerous items from the get-go. You know what I mean? What do I mean by that? Well, these days, if you guys have noticed, right, temperature control, done many different ways. And sadly, in my opinion, right, when Evolve came out with their idea of temperature control, they already, got it down pretty good. It still needed work, but they did a really, really good job on it. That's what I think. But as far as other companies who were to follow afterwards, outside of E-cig, right? Outside of the Yeehy chips and stuff like that, the other things that have been coming out, like, for instance, the SIG OT and the STL Wolf and whatever, they don't do temperature control very well. Another one would be like a company like the A Solo and whatever. What happens is that like certain ones, they don't do temperature control that well. They do it and then some of them do it even worse, and then some of them don't do it at all and just claim to do so. You know what I mean? The whole purpose of temperature control is to automatically, have variable voltage control within it, so that like, it knows that like, if it's dry, if it's primed or whatever, and then it'll apply the proper amount of voltage to maintain the proper level of temperature. Now, there are certain ones that, although the voltage does have a variation to it, but it's still glowing the coil. You know what I mean? And if you're glowing the coil, now basically you're too hot, right? Okay, but aside from that, I love helping out companies from within to try to like develop something nice, and I will end up talking about it like later on, that which ones that I had a hand in helping. Other than this, I also have been doing something very, very interesting, which is I have been working on another channel. Okay, some of you might know what it is. If you know what it is, then leave it in the comment below if you've been following that. But yeah, I have been working on another channel as well. It's supposed to be me trying my hand at comedy. Okay, and if you guys know what it is, then great. I will talk more about it later on in the future as that channel progresses, because it's still very small. It's only got like about 100 subscribers at the moment, but we're growing that one as we go along. The other thing that I've been doing is basically I finally released my own battery line. Okay, the battery line, I will talk more about it in the future. Okay, but for now, just let me quickly say where it came from and why and how and whatever. Okay, you guys remember a long time ago we tried to do something different here on PVA with different channels, okay? And that's what I feel as if like a channel is, okay? A channel should have different sorts of programming on it, right? So when I go ahead and I do a review, on a product, or when I do a vlog, or when I talk about batteries, they're different sets of programming, because they're not quite all the same thing. So the straight volt being right now probably one of the more successful playlists. There was an episode where we talked about this company called E-Fan, and E-Fan was going around, with the embellishing of things on their wrapper, which is nothing new. However, they went super far with what was going on. They took a Samsung 30Q battery that is known as a 15 amp battery, okay, by the manufacturer, and then went ahead and wrote 60 amps on it. Right. Originally, I was just being very, very, very subjective about it, right, and just saying like, okay, well, if that is the case, I want people to know what they actually are under the batteries, right, under the wrappers, and as long as you know what is under the wrapper, that is fine, okay, and that's all I said, right, and from there was a lot of people who were like just appalled by this kind of business practice. And the more that I thought about it, the more is, because, what about everybody who doesn't know what's going on? What about all the people that I'm unable to reach through this programming? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, right, let's be honest with each other, you cannot jam information, education down people's throats. You absolutely cannot. Right? People have to want to learn. When they're ready to open their minds and just be like, all right, I'm going to give this guy a chance. Let's hear what he has to say. Or I'm going to do some digging of my own and then compare notes or something like that. This is the time where we're able to get through to people. So all of you guys here who watch the channel are, people who are willing to meet me halfway. That's where we are. But then what about all those people that don't watch YouTube? If you go out to like a lot of conventions and stuff like that and meet a lot more people in the industry, you'll find out that like, I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe about like 80% of people don't watch YouTube. You'd be really surprised, right? A lot of folks who hang out at vape shops all day long actually don't even bother watching YouTube. They just hang out around the products and feel them out, So whatever they know is whatever they know. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Who knows, right? So on an episode of the Vape Team, I don't know if you guys watch Vape Team. Shout outs to my friends BK, Mike, and Brian on the Vape Team. They mentioned that, well, BK watched one of the episodes about the E-Fan, and he raised that question, right? He's like look what's going on. You know what I mean? It's absolutely disgusting of people just getting away with false specs on a product, right? It wasn't even specifically just about batteries. It was just the idea of printing false specs on a product, let alone it being batteries, the most dangerous portion of cigarettes, right? So what Brian ended up saying was that, well, shouldn't we have some kind of, say, authority or whatever to, like, regulate things like this? Well, that's exactly what the issue is, right? That's why we're having this whole fight with the FDA, right? Because there is no one to regulate amongst us. Now, I'm not getting into a conversation about, like, do we need regulation or not? Because even from that conversation, I felt as if, like, it would be way too pretentious to just come out beating my chest and just be like, okay, I will be the authority on, you know what I mean? This is just ridiculous. That's not how you approach things, and that's not how anything gets accepted. So instead, what happened is that, like, why not we just release a proper product and then hope that, you know, in the future other companies may follow suit to that, right? And then what we did was that we released the PVA batteries. I'll throw a photo of them up on the screen, and the batteries basically have all the recommended values on them. Okay, now I know that originally I once said to people that, like, I'm not going to teach you how to do I'm not going to do the math for you, but I will teach you how to do the math. However, it doesn't solve the issue of all the other people out there who are way too overwhelmed with, like, you know, knowing Ohm's law, knowing this, should I, you know what I mean? And then in between hearing, like, people with, like, batteries blowing up in their pockets because of loose change and other crazy things like this, right? So, you know, instead to release a product that the math is done for you, in case, you know, you're already feeling like too overwhelmed from, like, all the learning anyways. I feel as if, like, the product at hand, if you were to own the product for a while, any one of the batteries, right? Any one of the batteries, if you were to own a set of them or just a few of them and stuff, in time, the numbers that are printed on the batteries will guide you, you know, and it is a way of learning without learning, meaning, like, you would pick up, like, how to use them without having to sit through, like, a rough lecture, you know? And that's really what it's for, so that, like, I don't know, easier way to nudge people over to safety, I suppose, because at the end of the day, we all talk about battery safety, right? However, it's so difficult to teach because, you know, not only is there a lot to know, the person that you're trying to teach it to also has to be in the mood to want it to know, you know? So instead, you know, let's try to take all the guesswork out for people so that, like, it's just easier to get their foot in the door, okay? And that was the whole purpose of the PVA batteries. All right, so yeah, guys, other than this, what's going to go on with the channel? Straight Volt Season 2 is going to go back. I just released a channel promo for that. The first episode will be a live episode. I don't plan to do live episodes often or on the regular or anything like that, because I feel as if, like, if you're going to do a live episode, it kind of needs a reason to be live, you know what I mean? So for me, I haven't really found that reason. So we're just going to do one for the sake of doing some battery overlays live in front of you guys, so that, like, we're going to do something real interesting in it, okay? What I plan to do is that I have a lot of stuff to give away. It's sponsored, the whole episode is going to be sponsored by Suicide Bunny. So Suicide Bunny gave us a ton of juice to give away. And so when we give away the juice, we're not just going to give away bottles. When you win the juice, you're just going to win the full line. Okay, I'm going to give you the original set with the King's Crown, with the new Cloud Company, right? So it's going to be like, what, something like 13 bottles or whatever, just like all in one go, right? Other than that, I'm just going to allow people to go ahead and place their bets on stuff, right? So we'll pull up a single graph, and then I'll have people go ahead and place their bets in the in the chat room, right? And then the first three people or whatever to get it right or something like that, and then we'll overlay on top of that. If you are correct in your answer and stuff, then, you know what I mean, send over some PMs, and then we'll work something out so that, like, you can receive your prizes, right? So I think that's actually going to be pretty exciting, right? Kind of like a little gambling thing going on. Yeah, so that's pretty much all that's been going on with me over here. And like I said before, I will eventually release an episode. I don't know if on the Straight Volt or on anything where, like, I will formally speak on the batteries that we've released here on PVA. Regularly scheduled programming will be back to normal. Outside of, like, the Straight Volt episodes, I will come back to doing, you know, reviews on atomizers, mods, and stuff like that. I have a ton of new toys to show you guys, and, you know, we'll get more into that as well. So to all my family members out there, thank you very much for sticking with us, and remember to always vape clever. Take care, everyone.